Good afternoon. My name is Janae Bruce. My mentor is Dr. Stephen Ratchford, and my presentation is about cleaner shrimp having preferred clients for cleaning. For my research, we looked at two different types of cleaner shrimp, the Ancylomines petersoni, or the Peterson cleaning shrimp pictured on the top right, and the Periclymines yucatanicus, also known as the spotted cleaner shrimp pictured on the bottom right. These shrimps have a symbiotic relationship with the corkscrew anemone, pictured here, which is their home and is also where client fish come up to get cleaned. The relationship between the fish and the shrimp is more of a mutualistic relationship, meaning that they both benefit from the interaction. The fish benefits by having the parasites on its body cleaned off, and the shrimp benefits by getting a meal from eating those parasites. In addition, there are several fish clients that come up to an anemone to get clean, but a few of the common ones are blue tangs, ocean surgeons, doctorfish, grunts, bull gregory, parrotfish, and lane snappers. As part of our research, we reviewed different scientific literature, and most of them focused on cleaner fish, such as gobies and cleaner wrasse. Both cleaner shrimp and fish serve a wide variety of clients, often showing that there is an overlap in the type of clients that they serve. There was some literature dealing with cleaner shrimp, but the ones that addressed them did not discuss how often the fish visited and seemed to suggest that all client fish get cleaned with no preference. However, preliminary observations have shown this not to be the case, and this gap in our knowledge led us to our research question, which is, do cleaner shrimp have preferred clients? To figure this out, we looked at how often each client visited versus whether they got cleaned or not. For our methods, we were given a set of videos recorded by GoPro cameras from January to June 2020. The videos taken in these 6 months were recorded on a weekly basis, and they were placed at different anemone, which contained the shrimp that we looked at. Overall, we ended up watching over 240 hours of footage from the cameras and recorded data from that footage, such as what type of fish we're visiting, whether the said fish got cleaned or not, and the amount of time each visit lasted. Then afterwards, we summarized the data to look at which species visited most often and which species of fish was cleaned the greater percentage of the time. If there is a preference, then it's most likely the fish that get cleaned the greater percentage of the time that they visit. So which fish visited most often? The graph on the left shows the number of visits done by different species of fish, indicated by the vertical bars on the y-axis. The amount cleaned is shown in the gold, and the amount not cleaned is shown in pale yellow. From the graph, you can see that there is great variation in how often these fish visited, and this proves that not all fish that visit get cleaned, contrary to what some papers were saying as mentioned earlier. On the graph to the right, we looked at what percentage of the times did the one that visit get cleaned, with percent cleaned in the gold and percent not cleaned in pale yellow. One might think that the fish that showed up more often would get cleaned more, but on the contrary, it was the fish that showed up less often that got cleaned a higher percentage of the time. On the graph to the right, you can see that fish like damselfish, rock hinds, and angels have a higher percentage of cleanings, whereas on the left graph, it's shown that they don't visit very often. Conversely, the fish that show up often on the left graph are the ones that aren't cleaned very often on the right graph. This observation led us to believe that the rarer the fish is, or the less a species of fish visits an anemone, the more likely they are to get cleaned. As mentioned before, there is great variation in the number of visits across the various species, with not all of them getting cleaned, and generally those that visited the most often were cleaned the least percentage of the time. Some of the ideas that we came up to as to why this might be the case were that the fish that aren't preferred clients may be visiting so often because they're coming back repeatedly in an effort to get cleaned. This may be due to them having a higher parasite load or a different set of parasites that are quite irritating, so they want to get them removed, which is why they're constantly coming back. Another reason might be because they're a type of fish that want to receive tactile stimulation. And if that's true, then there's not much in it for the shrimp, so they may not be interested in hopping onto those fish. And in the end, if the shrimp does hop onto the fish, it may be just to placate them and get them to leave. Additionally, the reason why rarer fish might be preferred clients is because they have a different type of parasite on their body, which would provide variation to the shrimp's diet. All of these, however, would need further study to be confirmed. So, it could be that the parasites can affect the health of a fish, so getting cleaned of its parasites may be necessary for a fish's health, and healthy fish contribute to maintaining the oceanic ecosystem. For instance, some of the fish that get cleaned by these cleaner shrimp eat algae and help maintain algae levels in the ocean, which is important because, as we know, too much algae can have adverse effects. And these are my references. Great appreciation is extended towards the Summer Undergraduate Research Program, the National Science Foundation, the College of Science and Mathematics, Dr. Stephen Rashford, and Khalifa Powell, whom I worked closely with when reviewing the camera footage we received. Funding for this research was provided by the National Science Foundation, HBCU UP ACE Implementation Project. And I also wish to thank the audience for taking the time to listen to my presentation. On the bottom is my contact email for anyone who wishes to reach out to me. Any questions?